Here in New India debates, our theme is Yahi Samay Hai, Sahi Samay Hai. What's your take on that?
I think that's certainly the name of the game. That's the most important uh, aspect of what we're doing here. I think we need high quality public discourse in this country, and I got to see that today. And I really hope that New India Junction continues this sort of work, because having this level of political, economic, and social engagement at the university level, where ideas are fermented, where people come out with the next big thing, is very, it's vital to the success of the nation and also to the success of our vibrant democracy.
If I have to ask you, where do you see Indian democracy in next 10 years, or where do you see India in next 10 years? What's your take on that?
I think India is poised to become one of the most vibrant, not just cultural powers, but also in terms of democratic powers. Today, we have a world where some of the larger entities operating internationally, whether if you look at the Ukraine-Russia crisis and all of these other conflicts, you do need a power that has a long, as you say, cultural heritage to it, that understands the power of semblance and balance, and restoring a sense of dignity of democracy, as you could say.
Yeah, so like in G20 Summit recently, this topic, this entire issue has been addressed, and which was hosted in India, of Russia and Ukraine. Any stance on that?
So what I found very interesting is that, unlike other international forums, this time at the G20, we actually saw a situation where all of the members, especially the emerging economies like Brazil, for example, even China, Russia, South Africa, and the BRICS countries, of course, but emerging economies in general, and now the African Union also coming up, they got to project their perspective on the issue. And ultimately, we did not see a Eurocentric or an American-centric consensus develop. Rather, it was for the first time that you saw some of the other emerging powers at the table get to put out their voice in terms of how they view that conflict and how important it is to come to a conclusion that benefits the global order at large, and specifically developing economy where most of the world's population is present today.
African Union has been added to G20, making it G21. What do you have to say about that? How empowering is that, you feel, for African Union itself and also for the world?
I think what's really interesting for the African Union is that it's not just one country, it's a collective entity. And what that brings is, again, more democracy, you could say, representing one of the largest continents in the world, representing probably one of the fastest growing regions in the world economically, and what will probably become a great economic power in the future. And it opens up so many avenues for trade. And we've been talking about the development of Africa for many decades now, but it's only with emerging economies like India and China getting involved with the development of Africa that we're seeing Africa really come out and show its potential when it comes to technological startups, when it comes to energy, it comes to natural resources. Across the board, the unlocking of the African potential through the G20 forum is something that I think, compared to G7 and previous international bodies, is far more likely to happen. So I'm very hopeful and very bullish about African Union being added to the forum and bringing, particularly from an economic perspective, more synergies globally between India, Asia, and Africa.